Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Yeah.
Years ago, I almost died. Some of you know this, many of you know this. I've shared this story many times. And in that, there was a lot more than me that did almost die than just my physicality, because I had to grieve my physicality. Before I got sick, I weighed about 175, I ran 10 miles a day, worked out avidly. My physicality was right there. I could do whatever I wanted physically. And then part of what TTP took from me was that. I haven't run 10 miles straight since. I don't know if I've run a mile. But in all what happened for me in my near-death experiences, the most hard part of it was the part that was the no when I got sent back. But yet I didn't want to go. I really wasn't ready to go home. And this poem was inspired by a song called Heaven Can Wait by Meatloaf, Michael Adday. And I sang this song in a workshop that I did after that, because for me, heaven could wait. I wasn't ready. And as much as I thought I was ready, because there was times of great strife in my life, I wasn't. And Spirit knew that, and it sent me back home, encoded with my mission, to drop the dial on every single thing in the human experience, in my human experience, and to share with the world why heaven can wait. We're all on this walk, we're all on this journey. And sometimes in this journey, life brings the morose things to us. So sad that we feel like life is over. And we just want to die. We want to go home. We want it to be done. You guys have been with me the last year. It's been a wild year for me. But I'm not the only one who's gone through a wild year. I just stand up here and talk about it. You can talk about your year, your 5 years, your 10 years, your lifetime. But there's been a part of me that in this last year felt like he was dying. This journey I just took last week, I knew what was before me. I knew how I was going to feel. I knew what it was going to be like. I was already feeling the pain. You got to see me on the edge of my emotions leading into this. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do, saying goodbye to Rose. Even though it's for only 10 months, it ripped my heart right out of my body. I had a hard time driving away. I backed up 3 times to the point where I couldn't do it anymore because I didn't want to torture her. We were both crying and crying and crying. In the first 2 hours of my drive, I had to drive slow. I wasn't present. I was present in my grief. And I knew that I was going to be going through this, which is why I wrote this, because I had already tapped into it. Matter of fact, I was cleaning the house last week or so, and started playing some of my music, and I popped in Meatloaf. It's one of my favorite albums, and it really gets me going. It gets that blood pumping in me. But I forgot about this song in it. And I knew the album. I know every song that's going to be coming next. You know, you just have that inner ear is attuned for the next song on your album. And then it came on, and I lost it. I fell to my knees, fell on my ground in front of my washing machine. It just doesn't really matter where you are when it happens. And hit the most grievous point of all of this for me, what some could call a meltdown. And I felt like I was dying again, but I knew I wasn't, because I'm sitting here, walking here, standing here, walking the planet. And as much grief was in my body about this, heaven kept telling me, no, it's not your turn. It's not your time yet. Well, how many of us are walking through grief right now? How many of us have stuff going on in their lives that we just feel like, I want to go home. Just let me out of this, please. This burden. And then God breathes life into us. With songs, with eyes, with unconditional agape love, with each other. We have to remember that heaven can wait for all of us. There's no rush. We think it's something in our fate to become an angel. You are an angel. You're an angel here walking the planet. Part of what my lessons were in the ethereal life I was living, and in the judgment I had with the physicality, with some of the humans walking around in the physicality, I kept wanting to visit spirit, and I knew how to do it. I could fly. I was a fly baby. I can leave my body anytime I wanted and astral project, or whatever you would like to call it. But spirit told me something, that if you keep leaving your body's not going to be there for you. And I wasn't getting it. I wasn't realizing that the pain I was walking in the earth with had me wanting to vacate the premises. And the premises were here. I believe it's a very hot day. But as I walk this land in this body, which I said last week has been all shapes and sizes, I'm really the only one who's ever judged that. But it's been the perfect size for me every single moment of my life, because it reflected what I was going through. It reflected who I was being, and who I was feeling, and the mark that I was seeing in the moment. But at any given point, as I hit my grief, or as we hit our grief, that thought comes in us that says, let's just go. I'm ready, spirit. I really don't need to be here anymore. Half the people don't get me anyway, or so we think. And we feel that, and it's heavy. It's very heavy. It's one of the heaviest emotions we can go through in this lifetime. The feeling of not wanting to be on the planet. The feeling of thinking that our fate to be an angel is more important than our task to be an angel on earth. As I look at some of the words that I wrote, in the dreams that seem that they lay there dead, we evoke the liberation of the child inside. With innocence of spirit and essence of love, they release the snares of ego and pride. Do you know that neediness is arrogance flipped around? It's still a matter of self-importance, which means I forgot agape love. What? It's like going inside my body and needing something else. That's the lie. I am already that love. It's already within me. So when I'm feeling that kind of pain, I just have to tap into what's already in here. And I have to remind myself all the time to say, heaven can wait. Because it's my ego and pride that sometimes gets me stuck in my own grief. It's not all about me, even though in my movie it is. But in my movie, I also have to remember that I came down here on purpose to be with you. And that you came down here on purpose to be with me. And that we all came down here on purpose to be with each other. And as people in our lives start going home, we're going to miss them. It's going to hurt. And we're going to want to be with them. And I'm going to tell you, heaven can wait. Heaven can wait for you. For your turn is now on this earth to walk. To walk with your love, to walk with your power, to walk with your empowerment, to walk with your joy and your grief. I've been really raw and real with everybody about my grief, about everything, my whole life, some to the point of fault with some people. Because they don't want to hear it. They don't want to tap into that part of themselves. And that's probably going to be one of my blessings and curses in this life, because when I walk into a room, that's what I do. I help people tap into the joy of themselves, but sometimes to tap into the joy of yourself, you have to tap into the pain of yourself. And still know that it's your time to walk here on this planet. I am not alone in pain. I am not alone in joy. We stand here in it together. We come to a place like this. We call ourselves people of diversity, or pod people. Some people don't even know what that is. Some people may think that we're just a group of weird hippies. Which is fine. That's cool also. But when they're walking around in their lives, do they feel that agape love that Mel was talking about today? Can you feel that in your heart, even in the deepest part of your grief? Because I'm going to share something with you that throughout this last year for me, haven't lost my faith. Questioned it. I have to. That's your job. You have to question it every single day. Is this working for me? And if it's not, how can I choose another way to make it work for me? If one of my tools got old and rusty, I'll grab another one and shine it up. Or get the steel wool out and get the rust off. They're all there for us to do the things we have to do, be it in song, in poem, in building a new house, in making a website. Whatever you can create, this is coming from the joy within you. It's coming from that part of you that's connected to that love, that's connected to the oneness of everything. But sometimes we're just so willing to see the bad part of it. Just because you saw me crying doesn't mean I dropped my faith. Just because you saw me in grief doesn't mean I gave up. Just because I see you sad doesn't mean I'm going to hold you in a place of sadness. I'm going to hold you in a place of love, because heaven can wait for you too. But what heaven can't wait for is for you to live. That must happen right now.
Yes.
We must remember that we're walking this planet. And however much time we individually have, it's our life to walk it. And if I'm constantly thinking about going home, going home, going home, I'm cheating myself out of what is happening for me in the here and now. It's okay to be sad, folks. It's okay to grieve people that have gone before us, or maybe going. As they're transitioning, we have to know that we got to be present for them as well. I still invite everybody to constantly look in the mirror and look in your own eyes. I have looked in my eyes in the deepest part of my grief recently, and I guess I still saw magic. There's still magic here. I didn't die in 1993, but a part of me did, and I had to grieve that loss. And in that part of me, heaven's got perfectly held within its hands. But the part of me that kept walking the planet had to keep going and keep going and keep going. What does Donna Frost say? Keep on keeping on. All of us have to tap into this at some point in life. The deepest grief in our life can be met with the deepest joy. It's the flip side of the coin. If I'm never willing to turn the page of the story of my own life, how do I know what the next chapter holds for me? I've been stuck on certain pages in my life. I'm actually writing that in part of my book, Eye of the Child, where the character is stuck in the story of his life, reading this one particular page over and over and over, crying, grieving, throwing a fit, throwing a tantrum, screaming to the universe how unfair it all was. And he didn't realize how long he was stuck on this particular page when the guide, he turns to him and says, how long have I been here? And, in your time, weeks. And it's okay. He's like, well, how do I get past this part? And Gord just says, turn the page. Sometimes we just simply have to turn the page. We're so afraid of what the next page has for us, but what if it has joy? What if I'm going to win the lottery on the next page? What if I'm going to find the love of my life? What if I'm going to find fill in the blank? It may be a rock. Say again. What if I'm going to find Julie? That is me, though, and I agree. But we have to be willing to do this. We have to be willing to know that heaven is there, heaven is here, heaven's here, and it can wait. It can wait. It always can wait. It's got time. We talked about time a couple weeks ago. 14 billion years of physical time. How much time was there before time started being time?
A lot.
So, we've got plenty of time for this, don't we? As we look at the different things going on in each other's lives, sometimes we can empathize and reach out and bring our heart to their pain and console them and hug them and love them and feel the grief as if they were feeling it as they're feeling their own grief, and help them transmute their pain so that they can walk around in heaven here. Because sometimes we forget that it's just a heart feeling, it's just a space, it's just It's no real place, man. It's like you don't buy a ticket to get there. It's not a place that you can go to or come back from. It's a state of being. But we have it as a place to go when we die. And so many of us are willing to go there now. I'm like, no, not yet. Unless it's your time. But everybody's still breathing in this room, walking around. We're rolling. Hey, that works too. You're still on the planet. No judgment of how you traverse the planet, but you're still breathing. And who am I to judge your earth walk or your earth roll, however it works? Because I've had all different kinds of earth walks, and so have you and you and you and you, and every single person in this room has gone through a different experience, but as we come together as a whole, as one body, as one mind, as one heart, then my experiences can be yours and yours can be mine, but do we want to limit ourselves to only experiences of pain? We tap into each other's pain so easily. And I say thank you. Thank you for the love. Thank you for all the hugs. I'm still grateful and I still want more. I'll always want more. But do you have the ability to tap into each other's joy? Do you have the ability to truly jump in someone's body and feel their joy as if it were your own? Because we're so great at feeling each other's pain and jumping into each other's body to try to take it away. Would you try to take my joy away? No. Why don't you just enjoy it with me?
Yeah.
And when it comes to my pain, enjoy that with me too. I'm actually writing a song. And part of the line is, I found love in the joy of my pain. And it sounds weird, but it's true. That in this for me, in all of us, that if we tap into the deepest, deepest, deepest part of our grief, right on the other side is our joy. I've got to be able to own all of it. We have to be able to walk through the valley of the shadow of death if we want to stand in the field of plenty. If we want to let the sun bask on our faces as we're sitting in the meadow on a beautiful spring day, then I have to know that there's going to be a shadow going on sometime during my life. And if this is the shadow time of my life, amen, and so it is. But I've smiled throughout the last year. Have you not seen me be cheesy goofball that I am? So I guess I wasn't completely stuck in grief, right? Are any one of us ever completely stuck in any one thing? Allow yourself to feel it all. Allow yourself to feel the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let yourself be alive in this world. This is what we've talked about when we say celebrate your feelings. Even the yucky ones. Just be willing to be here now. You're not done. Is anybody done? Yeah. No one's done. And when our time is done, we're not done. I mean, if you believe with New Thought, even old Christian belief systems, a lot of religious belief systems believe that we're not done. They just don't know what that ethereal life is yet. And we don't either, because it's different for every single person. Who am I to, I don't know where you're going next or where you're going next. I don't know that. Of all the things that I know, where sometimes will be unfolded before me, be it in a reading or doing work with people and all the magical things that happen, I don't know that. Nobody knows that. That's why I really have a hard time with any kind of psychic reader that's going to tell you your future. Sorry, doesn't work for me. They can show you possible paths unfolding before you by virtue of where you're at in this moment, but no one can predict your future. You can't even predict your future. What you can do is you can set a goal and you can walk towards the future that you're wanting, but we all know that sometimes Spirit sends a script change in, and what you thought was the future was not even an option anymore. When I did have TTP, I got a card given to me. I got a lot of cards given to me, but I saved only one. And I've showed you this. I actually used it in a talk. And at the front of it was a little kid with the old, when we were running away from home, the stick and the bag on the end of the stick, coming on a path, and there's a fork in the road, and the street sign says, "Your life, no longer an option." And it hit me And I've saved this card forever. I've used it in talks. I've used it as examples, and I will always use it as an example, because sometimes we come to a fork in the road that this way is one way and this way is no longer an option for us. If we want to continue in our lives, sometimes we have to choose left or right. It does matter. And I'm telling you, heaven can wait. So make a right-hand turn for your life and let heaven be fine with all the souls and angels and seraphims and seraphims and cherubs and all the wonderful things that we've talked about. Let them do their job. Let them play their trumpets. Let them play angelic music for us to hear when we meditate. Because if you listen, you can hear heaven all the time. Has anybody ever heard angelic music in a meditation? I really, really invite you to. It's not as hard as you may think, because all you have to do is, I don't say this word a lot, but shut up. That's a bad word in our house. But all we have to do sometimes is stop and listen and know that heaven's voice, heaven's angels, heaven's music are all right here. They stay with us, they walk with us, we walk with it, we bring the joy, we bring the wonder. And when it comes to the sadness, when it comes to the grief, and when it comes to that part of me that just is ready to give up on everything I have, every single dream that I have, all my dreams laying there dead, that's the time I need to truly, truly breathe. And that's the time I may need to go and grab somebody and go, help. I'm feeling like heaven wants me now, and that's only my head, because heaven said no. So breathe into this. Breathe into the fact that we're the ones thinking it's our time when we have those thoughts, when we're in those moments of grief. Let the light of agape love, let the light of God, us all it is, the creator of your understanding, the oneness of the universe, the big electron in the sky. Send you love, send you joy, send you laughter, send you goofiness. I pray for goofiness for the people. Yeah, levity, lightheartedness. Sometimes in our deepest morose feelings, we have to tell a stupid joke. We have to do something to pop out of this feeling if we're stuck in it. And if it's time to feel it, then feel it and own it and grieve and cry and spit and cough and do all that you need to do. Make sure you're not alone. I say that, and I'm not that great at it either. The thing is what it is. And I haven't been completely alone in my stuff. Matter of fact, I've had Spirit with me the whole time. I've had you with me the whole time. Did you get that? Because you guys have been with me the whole time, and you are Spirit. You're the Spirit in me, I'm the Spirit in you. And whether looking in eyes has ever been uncomfortable for anyone, I'm going to tell you a gift that I've gotten from it. I can see your eyes when I close my eyes. Every single one of you have been with me in this journey because you allowed me to look in your eyes. And with that true love, and I know we sometimes get afraid and all that, well, man, that's okay. Just another reason to beat ourselves up. Enough. Breathe. And allow this for each other. And when I'm looking in your eyes, let it in. So if you're going through a day, a hard day, and close your eyes and see me loving you. Just see me loving you. And see your friends loving you. And see yourself loving you. Why do you think I look in the mirror, man? I'm done with the goofy faces. All right, I'm not done with the goofy faces, but that's my inner 5-year-old. But I was loving myself while I was crying in the mirror. Why would I go look? I didn't look to go give myself more grief. I didn't look to hate myself. I looked so that that little kid inside could know he was loved, that I was willing to see him in this state, and that it was okay. There's so many reasons, again, for us to punish ourselves. No more punishing. Just breathe into this. Breathe into all of it and know that heaven can wait for you. There are billions of years of time left. There's an immeasurable amount of time left. We can't get, our brains will blow up, okay? It's hard for us to conceive of how much is left. And in Mark Pasqualino, this human walk, I don't know how much earth time I have left, but I know that I will go on forever. But in this moment, heaven can wait. I hope talk with us. Thank you.
Through the cold of the day, and I know heaven can wait, and the gods come down here just to sing for me. The melody's gonna make me fly without pain, without fear. Give me all your dreams and then let me go alone on your way. Give me all your prayers to sing it on. Turn the night into the skylight of day. A taste of paradise, and I'm never gonna let it slip away. Oh, I got a taste of paradise, and that's all I really need to make me stay just like a child again. Heaven can wait, and all I got is time until the end of time. And I won't look back, I won't look back. Let the altar shine. Heaven can wait, and all I got is time until the end of time. And I won't look back, I won't look back. Let the altar shine. Let the altars shine.
Bless all